This is the Flathead Valley Sports Haven, a segment where I highlight current and former Flathead Valley athletes, coaches, and sports figures celebrating the best athletics our valley has to offer. The Flathead Valley Sports Haven is powered by Logan Health, and today's guest is Payson Scribner, a 14-year-old sprinter from Columbia Falls who has earned a spot at the USATF National Junior Olympic Track and Field Championships in California. At his 14 years old, Payson has earned the opportunity to compete against some of the best young track athletes in the country. Athletes don't simply sign up for the event. They have to qualify through championship meets and earn their place on the national stage. Today, we'll talk about growing up in the Flathead Valley, discovering track, the people who have helped her along the way, and her journey to one of the biggest competitions of her young career. So first and foremost, Payson and her coach, Josh Harris, thank you guys for joining me here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, let's go ahead and start off with the hard question. Payson, you're only 14 years old and you're getting ready to compete at a national championship. Has that even sunk in yet?
Kind of, not really. I mean, I don't really know what to think about it yet. I'm just going to run a race.
How about when did you find out you qualified?
Right after I'd gotten done with my 200 at my regional meet, I was just walking back to my parents because I had just, gotten 6th place in the 100 meters, so I was pretty bummed about that. And I was just like, I probably didn't make it in the 200. Like, it's not a big deal, but it kind of is. So then all of a sudden, my coach just comes up behind me and just, grabs my shoulder and just looks at me and is just like, dude, you made it. You made it. And then he picks me up and, spins me around in a circle. And then I see my parents on the other side of the field just like, yes, you did it. And then we run and then, yeah.
So what was that moment like then?
It was pretty cool. It's definitely not something I'm gonna forget because it's definitely one of the core memories in my just that I've had so far.
All right. Well, before we get really into the track, I want to kind of introduce who is Payson. Who are you? Obviously you're from Columbia Falls. You're going to be going into high school, but who is Payson Scribner outside of just the athlete?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I like to do in my free time, just normal things. I like to listen to music and, hang out with my family and stuff. But I like to do other sports like swim. I used to do soccer. I'm a pretty good student. I'd say I'm an okay student, but, And I like to draw and crochet and just, do a lot of music and stuff.
What is it to you to be from Columbia Falls?
Well, I mean, it's really nice to, be able to say that you're from Columbia Falls and be a local around here because you have, Whitefish Resort and then you have Glacier National Park and just all the lakes and rivers, and it's just a beautiful place to be from.
How about, have you always been involved in sports? Has sports always been a part of your life?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine my life without sports, honestly.
What others played besides track?
Soccer, basketball, volleyball, softball, hockey, figure skating, tennis. I was into badminton for a little bit, kind of. There's probably some more. I am still a competitive swimmer, and I did ballet and dance, hip-hop and stuff like that for a while.
So just about anything and everything.
Yeah, pretty much anything.
When did you realize that competition is something you really liked? Have you always had that kind of competitive gene?
Yeah, since I was little. My first memory of it's probably on the soccer field. I had the ball, and I really wanted to score, even though we, wreck soccer. It's not really anything to anybody. It's just little kids kicking a ball around on a field. But I just really wanted to kind of get the ball in the net and just have everybody be like, yes, let's go, another goal.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so getting into the athletic journey here, you and Coach Harris have been together for not that long. How did you guys kind of find each other, and what has this collaboration been like throughout the process so far?
Yeah, great question. Her father actually reached out to me via another client that I work with, so it was a referral situation. And his text said, hey, my daughter's a sprinter. She's progressing really well. And I've worked with number of sprinters now in the Flathead, and I didn't expect to see what I was about to see. He sent me a video, and like I said before, I watched it. I was like, whoa. there's something different. And it was rewind. And literally just a second or two that I could see she was doing something that nobody else was doing on the track. And so we've been working together, I think, for 5 weeks, and everything's been oriented around technique and, how do you perform on the track? How does the spine align, the spinal angles, the joints, hip position, head position. And so what I'm really trying to instill with her is the biggest mistake I see with athletes, especially young athletes, is they tend to chase motivation instead of structure. And so I'll have athletes come in and they're like, yeah, I trained yesterday, but, I could barely walk out of the gym. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad you worked hard, but why did you do that to yourself? And my mindset is mastery comes from not stacking more, but stripping away. You do less, but you do with greater attention to detail.
Took me years to figure that out.
Yes. So when we train, it's less about working hard and working more intently. So fixing problems, getting her block start dialed in, keeping her speed down the track. So everything's, been oriented around the specifics of track, but more or less like, okay, how do we make sure that she has good posture? We do a lot of corrective work, make sure she's, stacking her joints properly. But big thing too is like keeping her sustained, right? Making sure she doesn't get injured. We put in protocols to make sure that never happens. So my approach is very detailed, and she is definitely getting a big taste of that right now.
Now, you're pretty raw still, so to speak, right? You haven't been doing track for all that long, or have you?
I've been doing it since 7th grade, but like competitively with USATF and club stuff, this is my first year, kind of getting into that.
Do you realize how incredible that is?
No.
How incredible is it what she's doing?
It's huge. I mean, she did you ran a 13.3, so a little slower than your best time in track season in school, but then you came back at regionals and ran a 12.8 or 12.5. So that's 0.3 of a second in how many sessions? I think we did 9.
Was it 9? Yeah.
We did 9 sessions. We did some of those at my gym. Most of them were on the track, and that's 0.3 in 9 sessions. And she's PR'd at every single meet in the 200. So the cool story I think that we're missing here is that when you ran the Montana Association in Butte?
Yeah, the state meet?
Yep, the state meet. She had been off for 6 weeks. She hadn't ran in 6 weeks, and she PR'd in the 200. Like, who does that? Like, that's unheard of, right? That's unheard of. Comes back 9 sessions later and then PRs again in both. That's in the prelims. A day later, she PRs again in both.
Wow.
So it's like, okay, yeah, this is like a situation that's worth nurturing, but the rate at which you see that improvement, it's like you got to just keep feeding the beast.
Why the 100 and 200? What kind of made you fall in love with those two specifically?
I mean, I knew I was fast, and I know that I am not a distance runner whatsoever. I tried the 400.
You and I are just the opposite.
I tried the 400, and, it was fun, but it's a very, very strong love-hate relationship with that race. And so I tried something shorter, which was like the 100 and 200. And I was just like, I like these. These are my races.
Yep.
Gotcha. That makes more sense. Does that is that kind of what you've seen too?
Yeah, I mean, she, obviously the 100, she's progressing, but the 200, we keep saying that seems to be her sweet spot because you've PR'd every single time since.
It just takes me a minute to get up the full speed and hold it, really.
Gotcha.
But if we can get your blocks to be super efficient, that's going to translate in well into the 100. So, yeah, I think moving forward, the 1 and 2 she's going to start owning it here pretty soon.
That's incredible.
I mean,
you told me this on air, but at what point did you realize speed was something you had?
I realized it when, on the playground, people didn't want to play tag with me anymore. That's my main thing.
That's a good reason.
That's a good one. Because you also told me something about when you started sprinting, there were times where you would get clocked and you'd almost be as fast as the guys, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a specific place. I was at a high school soccer game when I was like 11 with a bunch of my friends. Like there was like 14 of us and just a mixed friend group. And then we were just doing like races with each other, like kicking the ball around, just, you know, being kind of stupid at times. But
Being kids.
Being kids, yeah. And this group of like junior, senior boys comes up and they're just like, hey, let's see how many of you we can beat. So, you know, we get in line, we get into like heats, like who's fastest or whatever. And so I race up against like 5 of them or whatever and like 3 of my friends. And I think there was only one dude that beat me by not that much. And he was like, yeah, I didn't like, I wasn't ready. I just ate a big hot dog. Like I just downed a pound of like cotton candy.
I gotta love those excuses.
I just wasn't ready, and everybody kind of joined in with that. And yeah.
Do you think those kids will remember you or know your name here in a couple of years?
I'm hoping so.
How about what do you enjoy most about the 100 and 200? What's something that I guess when you think about, hey, I get to do this, what's something that really kind of gets your juices flowing, so to speak?
Probably the adrenaline rush, like just being in the blocks, like I, you know, win this, like you got this, and just kind of having that like heart racing head to head kind of thing when you're like sitting down in the blocks right before the gun fires. I love that.
No, I get that's the almost that last calm before the storm, if you will.
Same thing in swim, just like getting ready for the beep right before you take off into the water. That's
okay, cool. I like that, the build up. And then I was looking through your athletic and track profiles and everything. I noticed you competed with Stumptown Track Club, the Snow Ghost. Tell me about that experience and how has the collab of being with Coach Harris and being a part of that really helped you grow?
I went to like maybe 1 or 2 practices with the Snow Ghosts, like in the winter, because I was gonna do like their indoor season, but it just kind of slipped away from me just with school and everything, and 8th grade year just kind of getting hectic, and so I didn't compete at all. And I met Maria and I met a bunch of the other coaches over there, and met a bunch of the kids, and you know, just kind of thought to myself, I was like, hey, this is something that I want to stick with, like, for future references.
Because a cool little tie-in is the Stumptown Snow Ghost. I believe it was started up by Willie Roach, who's the head track coach at Whitefish. I know, Coach, you've kind of collabed. Talk to me about what you're seeing in terms of an expansion, in terms of track kind of growing the game, so to speak. We're starting to see that become bigger and bigger here across the valley. What do you like about that? And do you get to work with them at all, or do you like that there's more entities like that?
So, yeah, it's interesting how I got connected with, you know, I've met Coach Willie a few times. He actually came into my facility. I was going to train him, and it never worked out. But you know, I've worked with a number of people who have run for that club, and working with youth and athletes with my business, which is Cascade Kinetics. The youth training that I got into was never an intent. It just started with one person, and you know, it started with Brooks Zatuni, like we talked about earlier. And obviously her success was tremendous over her last 2 years of high school. And I think she had a bigger impact on my business than I had on her success. It was really her success, her level of play, that brought attention to, you know, what I was doing. And everybody's like, God, where's Brooke training? Where's Brooke training? And it was like one kid after another, and eventually it led to Payson. So it's, you know, kind of the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon or something like that. It's like where it all kind of connects to one person. But yeah, I mean, the track and field sport, especially sprinting, I feel like has grown massively over the last couple of years. And being a sprinter myself, you know, who's somebody who wants to compete, you know, I'm too busy working with you guys to have time to train myself. But as a competitor, I'm able to take the knowledge I've learned about myself and pass it on to the younger athletes. But it's been really exciting because the methods that I follow, you know, again, are heavily technique oriented and keeping the athletes healthy, keeping their joints healthy, getting into the specific mechanics. And when you start to see that knowledge get passed on and they learn it, you can see the improvements jump from person to person. Now it changes a little bit based on personality. She's a little different because she's much more mature. She's, more focused than I typically see from people her age. And so she's able to take what I show her and really excel. But yeah, it's like I said, it never intended to be a youth sport business, but it's quickly become that segment that I'm really focused on. But I really enjoyed like seeing the success, but also the success without the setbacks of injuries. And I think that's more or less a testament to me being very careful about how I approach each person. But yeah, it's track and field's an amazing sport. I call it a bittersweet symphony because like you have.
That's a good one. I've never heard that.
Yeah, like the song, right?
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite songs.
One.
And it's like you have to make it perfect. And I think that perfection is something that we all enjoy as competitors. Who doesn't want to be perfect? Like Alex Honnold, right? Michael Jordan, Caitlin Clark, they all have that extreme focus. So it's really fun to see these younger generations kind of take that knowledge and excel.
And when it comes to studying track and field, I know that's got to be different, but in any sport, you have to watch yourself compete to kind of learn things. When you watch her, or if you've watched tape, is there anyone you're trying to emulate, or is there anyone you're telling her, hey, I want you to watch what she does and prepare like her?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. One of the first things I do with a new client is we do an in-depth assessment, and then I do a short presentation in the beginning. And one of the things that I showed her was slow motion video of Usain Bolt, right? When you break down him in slow motion, obviously he's the fastest man in the world. I don't see anybody catching his time anytime soon. But when you watch him run, his mechanics are amazing, right? He sequences his arm, his torso. And so when I saw the first video of her sprinting, I saw similar characteristics, right? Obviously not as fast. Nobody's as fast as him. But the reason she was faster than everybody else is she was mimicking those same patterns that you don't see very many people do. And, when I watched her, compared to the other people on the track, nobody was doing it like she was. Like she's opening up her body, arms are driving through, her posture is up. You could just see the confidence just blowing by, right?
How much do you, sorry to cut you off there.
Go ahead.
How much do you watch, or has coach showed you maybe some Brooks Detooney films, some McKenna, I'm just going to throw out some names that I know just because they're recent, but like Haley Ells, who graduated from Whitefish a couple years ago, McKenna, her sister, Aaron Wild, Brooks Detooney, just a couple of names to mention. But do you watch any of them, or has coach talked to you about them and kind of what they've done so you can kind of see, okay, here's what they did to get to where they're at. Can you apply that to your game?
Yeah, I watch like Sha'Carri Richardson, who's like an Olympic athlete. Same thing with Florence Griffith Jr. and some Usain Bolt videos just to, kind of get an idea of what I'm shooting for in a race, because I'm obviously not on that level yet. Hopefully I will be someday, but they're just kind of my main inspiration through all of this.
How about, because I just talked with another Olympian hopeful, Lee Walburn. He graduated from Whitefish years ago, but he's training for the next Olympic Games type of thing.
2032?
Yeah. Talk to me about being from small town Montana, Columbia Falls, Montana. If you're not from Montana, you have no idea where Columbia Falls is on a map. To be from a small area like this, to have the ability to go and do big things, what does that mean to you?
What I tell, like, my cousin, Isla, she's younger, and, I know she looks up to me because I'm kind of like her older sister, and I view her as my younger sister, but when she asks me about stuff like this, I just tell her, I'm just like, you don't have to be from a big city like New York or Brooklyn or just, like, LA. You don't have to be from any of those big cities to make it to the, the big leagues, to the pros. Like, you can just, like, kind of... It's going to sound corny, but you can chase after whatever you want no matter, like, where you're from.
Anyone that I talk to that's from here always says, though, like, being from the Flathead Valley, there's something special about being from here, right? That when you go on, you're always going to be representing the Valley. How much do you already maybe love that aspect?
I haven't thought about it much, but kind of like I said earlier, like it's, it's a good place to, be, like, have a good reference from it. Like, where's she from? Oh, Columbia Falls, Montana, and then look up on, like, Google Maps, and you just see all the valleys and the peaks and just all the hiking and lakes and, everything that's just beautiful about where we live.
I love it. Take me through training. What's her training schedule look like, and what's something that maybe you've had to change because you go, I didn't realize she would be this good already at this?
Great question. Gosh, I keep telling her, like, I'm ready for your season to be over because you're exhausting me right now. So this is a very unique situation. We've only been training together for about 5 weeks now, and normally I have a very tedious process I follow with every client that comes through the door. We work on corrective work. I engineer resistance training to fix some of these postural issues and things that are slowing them out on the track. Given the tight window of everything happening right now, I've had to very much adapt her training to meet these demands that are just around the corner. So our training has been mostly on the track, very little in the gym. So we've been working on just getting the reps in, getting her speed dialed in, trying to get that endurance, especially for the 200. So yeah, this week was definitely more of the hell week, I think. So Wednesday was rough. Today was a little bit easier. Tomorrow will be easier. And then, of course, we're tapering going into the race and making, every day much easier from here on out. But again, it's like catching the flaws, like the postural issues, like, okay, you're not holding your core tight enough during this stretch. It's really catching her in the act. That way she knows, oh, next time I got to fix this, right? And I think that's the hardest part about being a coach is you got to have a very sharp eye for the things that are slowing them down, and then having the knowledge and kind of the mindset of like, okay, how do I fix this with the proper drills or resistance training to correct some of these things that are, again, slowing the athlete down. But
So we're 5 days away at the time of this recording of you competing, right?
Yeah, I run on Wednesday.
So take me through these next couple of days. What's the mindset? What's the process? How are you trying to structure these next couple of days before you compete? What's the schedule look like?
I mean, you always kind of have to prepare your body, like, inside and out. So, like, eating the right foods, drinking the right foods, getting enough electrolytes, like, no, like, red meats, like, just nice and light stuff, like chicken and salads and stuff like that.
No red meat. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, me neither.
It's not that bad, but just, stuff like that. And then just getting mentally prepared. I don't really know what I do with that. I just kind of talk myself into, like, kind of a flow state, honestly, and then just kind of build that up to the day of the race, and then, like, get really, like, laser focused on, like, my lane in the track.
You're listening to the Flathead Valley Sports Haven. We'll be back with Payson Scribner as well as her coach Joshua Harris after this.
Is pain or weakness holding you back? When the pain cramps your lifestyle, consider joint replacement. At Logan Health Orthopedics, their total joint program provides proper education, support, and guidance during your journey. Orthopedic nurse navigators walk you through the entire process, from decision to recovery. Their surgeons use the latest technology to get you back to activity quickly with less pain and fewer restrictions. Visit logan.org/ortho to learn more. Get back to what you love with Logan Health Orthopedics.
Back from the break, where we continue on with Payson Scribner, who will be competing at the USATF National Junior Olympic Track and Field Championships in California. Let's go right into more of that mental side of things. When you think about walking onto the track in California, what's going through your mind?
I mean, that's a really big stage. Like, I'm not even sure really what to think of it yet. I'm just kind of expecting to go out there and kind of do my best, and hopefully, like, I'll do better next year. I know that I'll do better next year. And just kind of sizing up my competition for, every other race that I'm going to be competing in with the USATF.
Have you looked at your competition? Do you kind of have an idea of what to expect?
Yeah, I'm ranked 39th right now in the nation for the 200 and the 15-16 age group. And these girls that are, like, just in the same kind of area are from all over. Like there's Region 2, Region 7, Region 11, which is us, and then there's Region 6, Region 4. Like they're everywhere.
I think you just made a really good point there. You're going up against, you're in a 15, 16 age division. You're 14. So you're going up against incoming juniors, incoming sophomores as an 8th grader. How do you stay positive? How do you make sure that this is a positive experience going into it, that you know, hey, whatever happens, this is a learning experience?
Because I know I'm fast, and, you know, just having that kind of just safety net behind knowing that just kind of keeps me at ease. Because if this was like, I mean, if this was the first race that I was going into, like if this was my state meet or whatever, and I didn't know I was fast and I'd never run before, I don't think that I would be where I am now.
What gives you, I don't know if hope's the right word, but what gives you belief that, I mean, we can hear it, right? And the way she talks, very humble, very confident. There's, you can sense the burning desire down there. But what are you seeing from her that makes you go, she's going to go out there and she's going to do well? Yeah,
again, a great question. You know, she's still very new to the sport. Well, this is going to be your 8th meet total, right?
Yeah, I think so. 8th
so
meet,
her confidence, I think, stems a lot from swimming, because you had tremendous success there. So our first meet in Butte, you know, it's like, okay, 6 weeks off. There's, you know, obviously maybe some self-doubt, a little bit of confidence there. Like you're suddenly stepping back on the stage, having not practiced, ran at all. So as a coach, you know, I'm paying attention to not just her performance on the track, but I'm watching her body language, right? I'm looking at that confidence, right? And there's always those little moments where when she's getting ready to step up, there's a little bit of doubt, right? But once she gets on that lane and takes off, you see it just disappear, right? And so, yeah, I think it's more or less like just getting that exposure over and over and over again, to where when you step on that track, it's just like any other Tuesday, right? You're not paying attention to that person next to you, to your left or your right. You're racing against yourself, right? And that's what I keep telling her. It's like, forget about those other 38 runners that are ahead of you. You know, that's just a ranking. It doesn't mean anything. Think about what you've done up until this point, right? Think about how you've progressed, right? The rate at which you've progressed is phenomenal. So that's, to me, huge, huge confidence going into that next race. So yeah, the big thing I was, you know, try to just remind her of is like, look at what you've done so far. And again, you brought up a great point. On top of all this, she's only 14. And she's running typically against kids that are sophomores or even juniors. I mean, I think at her regionals, there was like one other girl that was your age.
There was, this girl, Iris Hancock. She's she's the fastest girl like at regionals that I know. Yeah. She's super, super nice. I love her so much. But she's, I think, maybe 2 months younger than me. So she's going to be a freshman as well. And I think there was maybe one other girl that was a freshman and 2 that were sophomores, and the rest are going into their junior year.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's absolutely crazy. What are you doing to make sure that she's prepared mentally going into California? Again, you're from Columbia Falls, Montana, a town of 5,000 people. You're going to be competing in a city of California that could fit in the entire state of Montana. How do you mentally make sure that she's ready for that, knowing that no matter what happens, you're going to step onto that stage and you're going to feel it? How do you keep yourself grounded?
Really, just a lot of what I just said is forget about the big stage that you're stepping on and look at what you've done so far, right? And don't sell yourself short. You've progressed at this amazing rate. See this as more as an opportunity. Is okay, I get to lay it all down on the line, right? And so, yeah, I think, again, it goes back to what I talked about earlier is, too many athletes prioritize motivation instead of structure. So she's heard me harp on her this past 2 weeks. Okay, sleep, hydration, nutrition, right? Limiting your screen time, all these little factors that play a much bigger role than the training aspect itself. We can train super hard to the point where you're just barely walking off the field, but that doesn't become a part of who you are unless you get the rest after it. And so leading up to this race, it's really okay, forget about sprinting, think about your rest, think about these really important aspects that everybody else forgets about, and that's your edge over these other runners.
Has anyone asked you, maybe you guys have talked internally, what are your goals to going into nationals?
I don't mind for her, but she can go first.
I'm just doing the best that I can, really. Like, it'd be cool to go to finals. It's kind of a long shot, but, you know, anything can happen, really. I'm really excited just to do the race and hopefully make it to, you know, semifinals. Just kind of do the best that I can. And, you know, if I don't make it to semifinals, then I'm in California, you know. There's a beach. I'm going to the beach.
Honestly, I love the mindset of I'm just going there to do the best I can. I really love that mindset.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's the best way to trip. I was going to say, you just kind of alluded to this too, but what are you most excited about besides the racing?
The beach. Definitely some of the shopping, you know. Just being in California, because I don't think I've been there. I might have been there when I was little, but, you know, some of my friends, Gabe and like Elijah Woolrath, they live in California. I'm not exactly sure where, but I get to see them, and I'm super excited because I did theater with them when I was little. I don't know, you kids for a while.
Oh, that's awesome. How about where in California is nationals at? Where are you guys going?
Norwalk, California.
Norwalk. I can't remember the stadium there, but I think there's a school there in Norwalk, right?
Yeah,
probably.
Like
Probably.
that.
I think it's
my mom
at
sent it to me.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's at a school or university there in Norwalk.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Neat. Getting into kind of more of this journey too. Obviously, coaches help you get to this point. Talk to me about the support of your parents. What have they done to really help support you through this journey so far?
You know, they have believed in me since day one. They're, you know, kind of willing to do, you know, just a lot to get me to where I want to be. They take me to practices. They make sure that, you know, I'm getting the right nutrition and just making sure that, you know, we have a good, like, relationship with Josh. Like, even though, like, we just met, like, I consider him family.
Yeah.
Because we're, like, it's just such an awesome experience. And, yeah, it's just, my parents have been so good to me through this.
What has your coach here, what have your parents taught you? What have you maybe taken away from this besides the athletic part? The thing that I love about sports is they are the perfect metaphor for life. What have you learned about life through this process?
Like, you know, no matter how hard, like, a training is, or just, like, no matter how hard, like, a day in your life could be, there's always, you know, like, kind of a perk to it. There's always, like, a good side that comes out of the bad. So, honestly, nothing against your training methods, but just look in the good and the bad situations, really.
Yeah.
What have you seen from her, maybe, whether it's a change or that maybe life has maybe changed a little bit for her, and how is she adapting to that?
Oh, gosh. I have to think about that a little bit. Yeah, you know, I think the thing I've noticed the most is the growth in confidence, right? I mean, from day one, I could see, you know, something was different. You know, she obviously much more mature, focused than I typically see. But her body awareness, her ability to take my cues keeps getting sharper and sharper, right? And that's because she fixes one thing, and then her body, her nervous system, like, just takes the next thing, and it just
doesn't make the same mistake twice.
Exactly, a perfect way to put it. Takes direction very well, very focused, very positive. Those are all rare combinations that you don't see, again, from a lot of athletes. Right? Obviously, you have the talent, but so much of what we do in terms of coaching is, you know, mindset. You know, I saw an interview with a college coach. I can't remember his name, but he said something that stuck out. Is you have, like, three groups of athletes. You have Group A or Group 1. And that's the person who has the talent and they have the work ethic.
I've heard this,
Yep.
yeah.
There's Group 2, they have the talent, but they don't have the work ethic. And then Group 3 is they don't have the talent, but they have the work ethic. 1 and 3 coaches love those. The middle one is a coach killer, right? they make us age, and thankfully I put her as a category 1. But yeah, it's nice to be around somebody who is, you know, motivated, but is coachable and is positive, right? The worst thing a coach can have to do is motivate an athlete. So it's nice when she comes in, there's no half measures. It's like we get to work.
This will be harder for her to answer because I've already asked her this, but I know you'll be able to give the answer because you
Sure.
see this more. But who is Payson? How would you describe who Payson is?
Oh man, I could really be mean right now. But well, just similar to what I just said is, she's. I reflect back to the first day we actually met. I'd seen the video of her. Her dad talked about her, but it's like, okay, who is this person, right? And it, just like I saw her run, it took me all but 2 seconds to say, okay, this person's different. Okay, but what are they like in person, right? You can see a video, but how they behave in person is a different story.
How do they treat people?
How they treat people, yep. And so when she first came through the door, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, she's different. It took 5 words to see, okay, the confidence and the focus and, personable too, right? Can have an intelligent conversation, which you don't see too often from people her age, right? Just she's on a different level. And so, I think, again, just her positive mindset, but great communicator. And I think because she's a great communicator, she takes direction extremely well. And so you give her a task and it's like she's going to do it, even though sometimes it's hard. You can tell she doesn't want to do it. But when she actually does it, it's impressive to watch because, she's fast, she's controlled. It's fun seeing it come together and somebody improve.
Oh, I love that. Payson, what has track taught you about yourself?
What do you mean?
What have you maybe learned about yourself through this journey, about maybe who you are and your drive, your goals?
I realized, kind of that I like training on land more than I do in the water, if that makes sense, coming from my swimming background. And it's just some of those swim workouts, for Hell Week and stuff, going into divisionals and state, which would be this weekend. Track is it's nothing compared to any of that. My coach.
Oh, just wait.
Well, I know. I'm ready.
Knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
I'm being gentle.
Fun. But no, my swim coach, Kyle Babcock, he was training me for, what was it? I think 5 or 6 years. And just every year, Hell Week would come around and we would have to put on our drag suits and our parachutes and then get rid of the fins and, no kickboards, use your streamline. And it's just that's the time when I honestly can't, move anything the next day because it's such a full body workout and
hurts to blow your nose after something like that.
It hurts to cough. It's terrible, but it gets the job done. I'll say that.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question because usually I'm asking this to 17, 18-year-olds about what advice would you give to someone, a young athlete in the Flathead Valley? What would be your biggest piece of advice to someone who wants to make their varsity team as a freshman, to someone that wants to get better for the next season? I mean, again, usually I'm asking this to 17, 18-year-olds because they've been through all this. You're just 14 and already experiencing some things that kids your age never touch. So what's a piece of advice you have for someone that's maybe in your shoes a year younger?
Don't let that, that one kind of girl group kind of stop you from going after what you want, is what I would say.
I like that. That's a different one. If we come back and talk again a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, what do you hope we're celebrating?
Hopefully a national title.
I
like that. How about for you? Same question.
Yeah, I would love to see her get a national title. Just getting on the podium would be amazing. But yeah, I would love to see her get a national title. But, just going into this race, like I said earlier, is you're always in track and field, you're racing against yourself usually, right? At least that's a mindset I try to instill in myself, but other
the track's your opponent, not the person next to you.
Yeah, you're racing against yourself.
You're racing against time.
You're racing against time, right? You're racing against that last time. So my encouragement to her, it's forget about those other runners. Do what you do best. Obviously you've had amazing success up until this point. But think about getting that next PR. That PR is like going to feed into that next motivation, right? So if you can get that, I think it really gives that motivation to a runner. But yeah, you're just not. When you try to think about competing against other runners, I think it can kind of get in your head a little bit. And so when you're competing against yourself and thinking about that and just beating your last time, suddenly you're just beating those other people next to you.
How about for you, same question in terms of young athletes. What advice would you give another young athlete in the Valley?
Train in a focused and intentional fashion. Stop thinking about stacking more, like just trying to train more and more. Think about like, okay, if you're having, limitations in terms of pain, or you feel like you're getting injured too frequently, that's a signal that something's not right. And you need to take a more focused approach to your preparation. And I think that's the hardest thing as a coach is, you can train an athlete as hard as you can, but unless they have that structure behind it, that would be my advice to any young athlete is stop thinking about how hard you're working and think about how focused and intentional you're training.
It's funny when you live in the athletic world, the athlete world, it's always the next contest, the next practice, the next game, whatever it may be. So after nationals, what's next? What is next for you? I know it might be too early to think like that, but
I mean, my high school season, but after nationals, I can go out on the boat and go surfing and wakeboarding and tubing and just, kind of have fun with my summer until, school starts and stuff.
Let's go into the school aspect. You're obviously going to be going to Columbia Falls. I wore the right day to wear my whitefish gear. Talk to me about the rivalry. You live it, right? I lived it. I see it from a different angle now, but talk to me about that rivalry. What makes that Columbia Falls whitefish rivalry so special that you've seen?
I mean, it's fun up to like a certain point. Like some people honestly just take it too far. And like at football games and stuff, I know there was a kid that got really hurt with like a stick fight at the homecoming game, and I don't know, something happened with his head and he had to go to the ER, and it's like, that's too far, man. But it's fun because I'll see like some of my, theater friends on the street or whatever, and then I'll be like, hey guys, and then they'll be like, we can't talk to you. You're from Columbia Falls. and then they just come over to me, and then I hug them, and we just start walking around together, and then yeah.
How about for you? You have a different perspective. You get to see it from a different view. What makes the Whitefish Columbia Falls rivalry in your eyes so great and so special?
Well, they're so close together too, right? And for
Tobacco
me,
Road.
yeah, and it's interesting you bring that up because I've trained athletes from now both schools, right? So this situation could come up where I start training from somebody from Whitefish that's going to be her competitor, right? So they're going to go head to head with the same type of training. But yeah, I think again, it's such a tight knit community. Obviously, you have Whitefish, Columbia Falls, Kalispell, but really it's the Flathead Valley, right? It's the valley that really kind of brings people together, right? And so. Yeah, I think of it less as schools and just athletes getting together and pushing each other to be their best. So I think of it less as a rivalry and more as an opportunity is like that person's going to make me better, right? The last thing you want to be doing on a track is racing against people that are constantly slower than you. So I'm in full encouragement of people getting together and pushing each other to be their best. So yeah, I see it as a healthy situation.
I love it. Yeah, I think you made a good point. No matter where you're from, whether it's Big Fork, if you went to Flathead, if you went to Glacier, if you went to Whitefish, or if you went to Columbia Falls, when someone from the Valley is on the big stage, the Valley is 100% behind you, no matter where you're from.
Yeah, I was amazed at the support that, that I got as her coach and raising funds so I could go and help her at her national meet. And I was just blown away at the support that came through for her. So yeah, great community.
People support their own, that's for sure.
They do, for sure.
All right, how about a couple of rapid fire questions for you? You're going to just give me the first thing that comes to your head on these, okay? So favorite event, 100 or 200?
200.
Favorite place to eat after a meet?
Kobe.
Ooh, there we go. Favorite athlete of all time?
Any sport?
Any sport.
Oh, probably Katie Ledecky.
Okay. How about favorite track athlete of all time?
Shakari Richardson on the physical level.
All right. Let's go. If you could pick a walk-up song, what would your walk-up song be?
Speed Demon by Michael Jackson.
Dream track to compete at.
Ooh. I don't know. I really don't know. Probably somewhere international, though.
Favorite college team?
Ooh. Probably either Florida State, like the Gators, or ASU.
Okay, why those?
I mean, I've been looking at those since I was little. Like, one of my best friends, Quentin, and I have been wanting to go to ASU for a long time, just in swim and not track. So now that I'm looking at different like track teams around the country and stuff, I'm leaning more towards like Florida Gators because that's where my grandparents are from and I have family down there. And, hopefully someday I can get on scholarship to go there.
Favorite track you have already competed on?
Ooh, probably Polson.
I love Polson. That's
Pretty.
a popular one. One word to describe your season.
Unpredictable.
I like that. Perfect. I think that's all I have. Is there anything I didn't touch on that you guys wanted to make mention of?
No,
I have no idea.
Yeah, you've flowed this very well. So yeah, I think
If Sienna were here, she'd have something to say. I would know that.
Well, once again, Payson Scribner will be competing at the USATF National Junior Olympic Track and Field Championships in California. Your first event's on the 29th, correct?
I think so. Whatever Wednesday is.
29th. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's my event, then the opening ceremony, and then semifinals are the day after.
What's the first event? Is it the 100 or 200 that you compete in first?
She's doing just the 200.
I'm just doing the 200.
Oh, just the 200.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
In the 100, it's like top 5, and I got 6th place by 1/100th of a second.
Gotcha.
So
competing in the 200,
Yeah.
Is there a way that that people who want to tune in to watch or keep updated with, is there a way that of for people to get results?
Yeah, you can go to USA Track and Field. So if you search for the national championship for youth, was it the I can't remember what it's called, Junior Olympics?
Yeah, USATF
Yep.
Junior Olympic National.
Yep, in Norwalk.
Meet
And
in
I think there's a way you can log on to the USA Track and Field website and watch it live there. And then you can obviously check the times on athletic.net. Just type in her name.
And then another way you'll be able to find out is I will make sure that I get results from you guys so we can have it on our website and socials as well.
100%. Yep, I'll be in touch with it.
Perfect. Anything else, you guys?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Awesome. Well, Payson, thank you for coming on today. Thank you for joining me, Coach. Thank you again for coming on. And yeah, wishing you nothing but the best. I look forward to seeing not just what you do this week, but what you do over the next several years.
Yeah, thanks. I'm super excited.